All right, welcome everyone to the NJCAA Plains District Baseball Tournament. Each at the campus sites at this current time, the Blue Devils were the number 6 seed, and the number 11 seed is Dodge City. They come into town. So, Neosho will be playing a best 2 out of 3 at Barton. Coffeyville will host Butler. Allen will travel to Hutchison. Cali will host Seward. Labette will travel to Cloud County. Dodge City has traveled here to KCK. Fort Scott has traveled to Colby. And Garden City has traveled to Johnson County. There will be best 2 out of 3 series for the right to be able to go on to Salina, which will be May 13 through 17, and the winner of the Salina tournament will go to Grand Junction for the Junior College World Series. So welcome to the broadcast today. Hopefully all of you were notified that this game was going to be played at 10 o'clock in the morning due to weather coming in this afternoon. So we're going to try and bring it to you. Let's hit the starting lineups real quick for today's contest. First for the Dodge City Conquistadors, leading off the shortstop, Josh McClintock. Batting second, the second baseman, Jose Alfonso. Batting third, the designated hitter, Calvin Warillo. Batting fourth, the first baseman, M.D. Connor. Batting fifth will be the left fielder, Juan Concepcion. Batting sixth will be the right fielder, Freddie Oquendo. Batting seventh, the catcher, Ben Longoria. Batting eighth, the third baseman, Seth Brown. Batting ninth, Corey Costner will play in center field, and on the mound it'll be Will David. So it'll be McClintock, Alfonso Warillo, Connor, Concepcion, Oquendo, Longoria, Brown, and Costner, with David on the mound for the Conquistadors of Dodge City. Now the starting lineup for your Kansas City, Kansas Community College Blue Devils. Leading off, the shortstop, Tanner Pachorik. Batting second, the center fielder, Marcus Dirks. Batting third, the first baseman, Frankie Santiago. Batting cleanup, the left fielder, Freddie Nolan IV. Batting fifth, playing third base, Ian Woida. Batting sixth, the catcher, Braden Horn. Batting seventh, Harrison Barham, the second baseman. Batting eighth, the designated hitter, Carter Towns. Batting ninth, in right field, Spencer Schmock, with Bryson Vaughter on the mound. So for the Blue Devils, it'll be Pachorik, Dirk, Santiago, Nolan IV, Woida, Horn, Barham, Towns, Schmock, with Vaughter on the mound. We'll take a short break. We'll get the anthem done. We'll be back for the start of this best 2 out of 3 series to see who goes to Salina. I'll be back. All right, welcome to the broadcast, everyone. The Blue Devils welcome into town the Dodge City Conquistadors for a best 2 out of 3 for the right to go to Dean Evans Field in Salina, Kansas next week, May 13th to 17th, for the tournament that takes you to the World Series in Grand Junction. So the playoffs are going on at 8 different sites today. The teams from the East and the West that were in the top 4 slots are hosting the teams cross-bracketed from the top 4 are hosting the bottom 4, but cross-bracketed for the 16 teams. 9 teams in each of the East and West. The number 9 teams are not included in the tournament, so that's the first cutoff point, and then the next is being able to play at home. On the mound today is Bryson Vaughter. Vaughter's from Topeka, Kansas, has a 3.49 ERA. His record is 6-4. He's thrown 59 1/3 innings. His strikeout to walk ratio is 80 strikeouts to 23 base on balls. Leading things off for the Conquistadors is Josh McClintock, the shortstop. McClintock starts the day batting .405. He'll step in to face Vaughter. So playoff baseball has begun. There's a ground ball. Pachorik is up with it, and over to Santiago for the 6-3 ground out.
Second baseman number 1, Jose Alfonso.
That's going to bring up Jose Alfonso. Alfonso starts the day batting .388. That ball's low and inside, 1-0 the count. Welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for watching and or listening. We appreciate you taking a look at these 2 ball teams as they play in the playoffs. That ball's inside, 2-0 the count. Blue Devils in their powder blue tops, white pants, dark blue caps. The Conquistadors in their bright yellow. There's a ground ball at Pachorik. Pachorik up with it and over to Santiago for another 6-3 ground out.
DH number 27, Calvin Warillo.
That's going to bring up Warillo. He's the designated hitter. Warillo starts the day batting .345. He'll be up there with 2 outs and nobody on. There's a strike, breaking ball, catches the outside corner. The Conquistadors in their purple caps, new yellow or the bright yellow with pinstripe white pants. 0-1 the count on Warillo. That's a little bit low, 1-1 the count. Comes the 1-1 from Vaughter. Breaking ball started out wide, came back to the heart of the plate, swing and a miss by the designated hitter, Warillo. The 1-2, low and inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the first inning here on the campus of the Kansas City, Kansas Community College Blue Devils. There's a foul ball backing out of play. That's headed over to the soccer field. We'll do the 2-2 again. Breaking ball lifted to right field. Spencer Smock camps under of it and takes care of it. So Vaughter gets a 3-up, 3-down inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Your Blue Devils coming up, no score. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure and like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you'll be notified every time we make an upload or go live. Thanks again. All right, to the bottom half of the first inning we go. Vaughter gets a 3-up, 3-down on the Conquistadors. The Blue Devils will send up Pachorik, Dirks, and Santiago. Will David on the mound for the Conquistadors. He is from Amarillo, Texas, has a 5.97 ERA. 7-2 is his record. He's thrown 57 and a third innings, and his walkout, strikeout to walk ratio is exactly half. 48 strikeouts and 24 base on balls. First pitch inside half, called strike on Tanner Pachorik. Pachorik starts today batting .375. There's a ground ball headed up the middle. That's going to be grabbed by McClintock, and the throw is going to pull the first baseman Connor off. So that is going to be an error on the shortstop. So that's going to bring up Dirks. Dirks will step in with a runner at first. Dirks starts the day batting .414. He'll step in with a runner at first base and nobody out. In tight at third is Brown. That ball misses a little bit up. Runner down at first base is Pachorik. The throw pulled by McClintock pulled Connor off the bag. Little toss over to first. Nothing going on over there. Comes the 1-0. That's going to be called strike. Thought that was a little bit up. The first pitch about that same height. Nonetheless, 1-1 the count on the center fielder, Marcus Dirks. We'll toss over to first. Nothing going on over there. Comes the 1-1. High chopper going to be foul. One and two the count now on Dirks. Dirks, the Blue Devils center fielder. Comes the 1-2. It's a ground ball headed to the backside of. That's going to be an infield hit. McClintock comes over and handles it in the hole, but that's going to be a base hit by Dirks. So that's going to bring up Santiago. Santiago will be up with runners at first and second. Nobody out. Santiago, the first baseman. He starts the day batting .330. He'll step in, nobody out, and 2 on. That ball's low and inside, 1-0 the count. That's up high. Concepcion in left field. Costner in center, Oquendo in right. Brown, McClintock, Alfonso, and Connor across the infield with Longoria behind the plate. There's a ball in shallow left field. That's going to be taken care of by McClintock. So Santiago pops out to the shortstop, shallow left field. That's going to bring up Nolan the fourth. Nolan the fourth starts the day batting .342. He'll be up there with 1 out and runners at first and second. Comes the first pitch from Will David. There's a ground ball right back to the pitcher. And that's going to be a 1-6-3 double play to get the Conquistadors out of there. The Blue Devils get their first 2 guys on. So there are no runs on 1 hit, 1 error in the inning, and 1 left on. We go to the top of the second inning. No score. I'll be back. All right, to the top of the second inning we go. Connor, Concepcion, and Oquendo scheduled up for the Conquistadors. Nolan the fourth, Dirksen, Smock left to right across the outfield. Wojda, Pachorik, Barham, Santiago left to right across the infield. Horn behind the plate, and Vaughter on the mound. M.D. Connor comes to the plate for the Conquistadors. That ball stays inside, 1-0 the count. It's a high chopper. Going to come in and quickly get that as Barham. Connor starts the day batting .390. He's out on a high chopper, and a nice play by Harrison Barham there to get him at first on that 4-3. Ground out. That's going to bring up Concepcion. Concepcion starts the day batting .396. Breaking ball goes down a little bit low. Concepcion, the left fielder for the Conquistadors. There's a ground ball high chopper. Wojda goes over and takes that on the high chop, but on the foul side. So ground ball headed at Barham. He's up with it and over to Santiago for another 4-3 ground out. It's going to bring up Oquendo.
21,
Akindo starts the day batting 283. He'll step in. Lefty versus lefty here. 2 outs and nobody on. There's a strike at the belt inside half of the plate. Comes the wind and the 0-1. A little bit low. Another breaking ball started out on the inside part of the plate. Breaks out to the outer, but it was too low by the time it got there. 1-1 the count. There's a high chopper over by the first base coach. So 1-2 the count now on the right fielder, Freddie Okindo. That's up high. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the second inning. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today here on the campus of Kansas City, Kansas Community College. Blue Devils in Kansas City, Kansas. There's a swing and a miss for the strikeout. So a couple of ground outs and the strikeouts. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. We go to the bottom of the second inning, no score. All right, to the bottom of the second inning we go. Woida, Horn, and Barham scheduled up for the Blue Devils. Woida steps in, leading things off here, takes the first pitch outside. Woida starts the day batting 343. Breaking ball outside. So 2-0 the count. There's a strike, catches the outside corner. Pretty dang wide plate right there. 2-1 the count. Little wider, ruled a ball. 3-1 the count now. 3-1 the count on third baseman Woida. Woida swinging away with the 3-0, fouls that one over to the woods. It is 3-2 now. I guess I was wrong, huh? 3-2, and that's a little bit low. Tough pitch right there, but Woida with the base on balls. That's going to bring up Brayton Horn, the catcher.
Catcher Braden Horn.
Horn starts the day batting 333. He steps in with Woida over at first base. That ball drops down a little low, nicely blocked by the catcher Longoria. Woida over at first base. He had the leadoff walk here in the inning. Bottom of the second. That's way outside. 2-0 the count now on the catcher, Braden Horn. Comes the 2-0 pitch. Runner bluffs going. 3-0 the count now. There's the ball down low. So back-to-back base on balls. That's going to bring up Barham. Barham starts the day batting .333, same as Horn. Going to get a quick visit to the mound. We'll take a short break. We'll be back. Blue Devils got something going here. Runners at first and second. Nobody out. We'll be back. Words of wisdom have been imparted. At the plate, Harrison Barham. First pitch, he squares to bunt. Gonna throw behind, and Wojda gets on over to third base after that. So coach from the Conquistadors questioning where the bunter went, if Barham interfered. That ball is inside, so 1-1 the count. So runners at the corners now. Nobody out. 1-1 the count on Harrison Barham, the second baseman. There's a ball that's outside. 2-1 the count. Wojda walks, Horn walks. Barham squares to a bunt. They throw behind Wojda. Wojda ends up at third. That's low and inside, so 3-1 the count. So Will David kind of, as he catches that ball, he kind of throws his glove to the side. I've seen a ball come flying out of the glove at times. That wouldn't be good for the Conquistadors at this point because a run would score. Here comes the 3-1. There's a ball headed into center field. That's going to be taken. Coming for home is Wojda. So Wojda scores on Barham's sac fly. Puts the Blue Devils up 1-0. That's going to bring up Towns. Towns starts the day batting .257. He's the designated hitter today. There's a strike, catches the outside corner. Runner at first is Horn. Foul ball back to the screen by Towns. So a couple of walks. A move up to third on throwing behind Wojda, and Wojda scores on the sac fly by Barham. Way high and outside is that one. 1-2 the count. So the Blue Devils draw first blood here They lead 1-0 as they bat here in the bottom of the second inning. Way high and outside. 2-2 the count. Comes the 2-2 from Will David. That's up high. So 3-2 the count. We were just about to make 100 viewers. I think this is the earliest that I've ever reached almost 100 or 100 this early in a game. There's a 3-2. That's going to be headed out of play down the left field line. Thank you to everyone that's watching and or listening. We appreciate you. Comes the 3-2 again. Runner goes. And there's a ball headed into center field. It's going to be a base hit, and heading over to third base is Horn on that base hit by Carter Towns.
Right fielder Spencer Smock.
That's going to bring up Spencer Smock. Smock will step in with 1 out and runners at the corners. Horn at third. Towns at first. Smock starts the day batting .297. There's a ball headed into left field. That's going to be a base hit and an RBI base hit at that for Spencer Smock. So back to the top of the order and Pachorik. Pachorik will step in with 1 out and runners at first and second. Pachorik is from Aurora, Colorado. He reached on an error by the shortstop his first time up. There's a ball hit at the second baseman. And Alfonso just gets up high enough to take that soft line drive for the second out of the inning. That's going to bring up Marcus Dirks. Blue Devils with 2 runs in, the sac fly by Barham and the base hit by Smock. Marcus Dirks is from Kansas City, Kansas. He's up there with 2 outs and 2 on. 2 runs in here in the second. There's a ball headed up the middle. It's going to be an RBI base hit, actually a double as he was hustling all the way. So a double into center field. And the RBI, that's going to bring up Santiago. Santiago is from Calle, Puerto Rico. He'll step in. Runners at second and third, 2 outs. Santiago flew out his first time up. There's a ground ball to the second baseman, Alfonso. He's playing over in shallow right field and takes it over to Connor for the 4-3 ground out. The Blue Devils get 3 runs on 3 hits, 1 left on. We go to the top of the third inning. Blue Devils leading 3-0. I'll be back. All right, welcome back to the top of the third inning. We go. Blue Devils leading 3-0. Longoria, Brown, and Costner scheduled up for the Conquistadors. Longoria is the catcher. He starts today batting .350. He gets his first shot at Bryson Vaughter. There's a strike, catches the outside corner, does that first pitch. Top of the third inning action. There's a swing, and that ball's headed over to the woods. So a little over 100 viewers right now. If you are watching and or listening here at the stadium, or if you know someone that's here at the stadium, there's a little popper on the infield. Barham's going to come in and take care of that for the first out of the inning. Coach Burleson, retired head coach from here, is sitting down by the red picnic table, and I've got some merchandise down there. There's a couple of tumblers and some caps. The first two people that show up down there to him because they're watching from here or know somebody that's watching, you can pick from those tumblers and those 4Ts caps down there if you're interested. Brady Kearns over here looking at me. I'd like to have some 4Ts stuff. 2-0 the count on Seth Brown. Brown starts the day batting .374. 2-0 the count on him. That's a little bit high end or outside, so 3-0 the count. The wind and the 3-0 from Vaughter. That's down low. So a one-out walk issued to Brown. That's going to bring up Corey Costner. Well, now, that is a different number. I'll bet I wrote it down wrong. So we do have a pinch hitter right here. And there's not one on there either. So we're not sure if that is Costner just wearing a different number. We do not have a number 4 on either of our rosters or the lineup card. So I don't know if there's any type of an issue of who that is. We'll see if we can find out about that as the game goes on. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 on. Here comes the pitch. There's a ball shot into the... That was about as close as a ball has come to one of my cameras right there. That is the view from the camera that ball came really close to. We'll see if we can't find out something about that number change. There's a throwback over to first. Nothing going on over there. That ball breaks inside, nicely blocked by Horn. You guys have your walkie-talkies or anything to know? Because surely our book people know who this is.
No, they're confused down there, too.
Is that right? There's a swing and a miss for the strikeout. So back to the top of the order.
Number 12, Josh McClintock.
So that's going to bring up McClintock back to the top of the order. McClintock is from Columbia, Missouri. There's a toss over to first. Not much going on over there. McClintock grounded out to Pachorik at short his first time up. He steps in with 2 outs and a runner at first. There's a ground ball headed to the backhand side of Pachorik. Pachorik makes an effort and throw back over to third. So the base hit by McClintock. I would say not an error, but a mental mistake that you certainly don't want to plan on. So that's going to bring up Alfonso. Alfonso, number 1. He's from Miami, Florida. There's a toss over to first. Back in safely is McClintock. Alfonso, the second baseman from Miami, Florida. He grounded out to Pachorik at short his first time up also. Another toss back over to first. Jose Alfonso at the plate. The ball misses low and inside. 1-0 the count. Comes the stretch in the 1-0. The high fly ball headed down the right field line. That's going to be out of play. Just short of making it into the woods. 1-1 the count. Toss over to first. Safe again. Comes the 1-1 way outside. 2-1 the count. Two balls, one strike. Runners at the corners, 2 outs. That ball stays outside. Alfonso, the original number 2 hitter of the game. 3-1 the count on him. There's up high for ball 4. So that base on balls is going to load the bases for Warrillo. Warrillo is from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He'll step in with 2 outs and the bases loaded. He flew out to Smock in right field his first time up. Breaking ball makes it back to the outside part of the zone at the belt. So 0-1 the count. Fodder with the strike called ahead. 0-1 on the DH. There's a swing and a miss. So 0-2 the count. Now we'll get that breaking ball that's going to start out too wide, and it'll come back in and catch the corner for the punch out. 0-2. Got that in a little too far. Headed deep is. That's one of those breaking balls that got way too much of the plate for an 0-2 count. And Warrillo with the grand slam home run. So 0-2 the count, and he gets a breaking ball that starts in the outside half, come to the inside, and Warrillo did not miss. And that makes it a 4-3 game, leading now by Dodge City Conquistadors after that grand slam by Warrillo. There's a swing and a miss by Connor. 1-1 the count. Connor is from Austin, Texas. 1-1 the count on him. So ball headed into right field just past Barham for the base hit. It's going to bring up Concepcion.
22-1 Concepcion.
Concepcion is from Miami, Florida. He grounded out to Barham at second base his last time up. The ball headed down the right field line. That's going to be foul, and it's going to bounce into the bullpen area.
My mom was like him was a very cute baby, but Nora is a jackpot on parents, and I was like, nobody will ever be as good as you and Dad, but they will be close. Is that bad to say?
Comes the 0-1 pitch from Vaughter, and that ball stays way outside. Connor had a notion to go, decided better. 1-1 the count. So ground ball to the backhand side of Pachorik and over to Barham for the fielder's choice. The 6 for fielder's choice. The Conquistadors get 4 runs on 3 hits. 1 left. Nobody left on after that fielder's choice. So we go to the bottom half of the third inning. Blue Devils trailing the Dodge City Conquistadors 4-3. I'll be back. All right, to the bottom half of the third we go. Blue Devils trailing 4-3. Freddie Nolan the 4th will step in. He's from Fort Worth, Texas. That's low and outside for ball 1. He grounded back to the pitcher for a 1-6-3 double play, his last at bat. That's outside 2-0 the count on Nolan the 4th. That's high and inside for 3-0. Nolan the 4th, Woida and Horn scheduled up. There's a strike, catches the inside corner. 3-1 the count. Nolan the 4th, left fielder for the Blue Devils. There's a ball headed down the right field line. That's out of play down there. So 3-2 the count now. That's high and inside for ball 4. So leadoff walk here in the bottom of the third.
Number 48, Ian Woida.
That's going to bring up Woida. Woida is from Lincoln, Nebraska. He'll step in with a runner at first, nobody out. He reached on a base on balls his last time up. Way outside, nicely blocked by Longoria. Comes the 1-0. There's a ball headed to the gap in. Just right at the base of the fence. So Nolan, the fourth, comes in on Woita's double to tie this thing back up.
55 rated horn.
So Woita ties it back up with a double. That's going to bring up Horn. Horn is from Derby, Kansas. He was almost fooled there and got back in. A really good thing that the throw was not handled and in a better spot.
Let me know when you want to give me that headset, and I'll let the people know. It's all good, Jerry.
No count so far on Horn. He reached on a base on balls his last time up. There's a breaking ball, gets back to the strike zone. Started out inside, comes back over for a strike called. 4-4 tie here in the bottom of the third. 9-inning scheduled game. There's a foul ball back to the screen. So quickly 0-2 the count on the catcher, Braden Horn. Comes the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball just sails a little bit outside, so 1-2 the count.
I think earlier in the game, they might have run them.
We've seen days that's a strike called right there with some umpires we've had in the past. Here comes the 1-2. Not right or wrong, just different. There's a swing and a miss for the strikeout. So that's the first out of the inning.
Harrison Barham.
That's going to bring up Barham. Barham is from Kansas City, Missouri. He had an RBI sac fly his last time up. There's a ball headed down the right field line. Long run, that's going to be just into the bullpen area. The bullpens come out and make down each line, not much foul territory, not much fair territory down there, and not a lot of foul territory either. 0-1 the count. Runner at second base is Woida. Had the RBI double. There's a strike, catches the outside corner, so 0-2 the count on Barham. Barham's sac fly was to right center to Costner. Breaking ball way outside. Nice job by Longoria to go out and get that. 1-2 the count on Harrison Barham. Comes the stretch and the 1-2 from David. Headed into center field. And Woida will stay at second base on that fly to Costner in left center.
45, Carter Town.
That's going to bring up Towns. Towns is from Kansas City, Missouri. He had a base hit to center field his last time up.
You'll really enjoy that, and you'll still be away from home a little bit.
That's up a little bit high. 1-0 the count. Comes the 1-0 from David. That misses up and out. 2-0 the count. Wade at second base. He had an RBI double after Nolan the fourth walked. Fouled that one off the glove of Longoria and back to the screen. So 2-1 the count. Carter Towns designated hitter today. Comes the 2-1. Foul ball back to the screen. Two balls, two strikes, two outs. That's down low, so 3-2 the count. Conquistadors with 4 runs on 3 hits and an error. The Blue Devils 4 runs on 5 hits and no errors. 3-2 the count on Carter Towns. Turns that one and whistles it. Down by Coach Sharp down at first base. Do the 3-2 again. It's outside for ball 4.
Right fielder Spencer Smock.
That's going to bring up Spencer Smock. Smock is from Aurora, Colorado. He had an RBI base hit his first time up through the hole at third and short between Brown and McClintock. Swing and a miss of that pitch there. 0-1 the count. That's probably the pitch he wanted right there to drive that to one of the gaps. 0-1 the count. All tied up at 4. That's outside and in the dirt, nicely blocked by Longoria. Breaking ball sails a little bit outside, 2-1 the count. There's a strike outside corner at the knees. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. The ball headed at the shortstop. McClintock underhands it over to Alfonso for the 6-4 fielder's choice. To end the inning, the Blue Devils get 1 run on 1 hit. Nobody left on. We go to the top of the 4th inning, all tied at 4. All right, to the top of the fourth inning we go. Oquendo, Longoria, and Brown scheduled up. Foul ball back to the screen. Freddie Oquendo down in the count 0-1. Oquendo is from Miami, Florida. Longoria and Brown scheduled up after Oquendo. Top of the fourth inning action. Low and outside, 1-1 the count. Nolan the fourth, Dirksen, Smock, left to right across the outfield. Voida, Pachorik, Barham, and Santiago left to right across the infield. Horn behind the plate, Vaughter on the mound. Vaughter with the curveball that makes it back to the inside corner for a strike. 1-2 the count on Oquendo. Oquendo struck out his first time up. A little bit up and out. 3-2 the count. Comes the wind and the 2-2 from Vaughter. Just a little bit low and outside. Comes the 3-2. It's a ground ball that's pulled down by the coach at first. Three balls and two strikes as Oquendo leads off the top of the fourth for the Conquistadors of Dodge City. There's strike three called. Lower part of the zone on the outside half of the plate. That's going to bring up Longoria.
Number 25, Ben Longoria.
Longoria is from Austin, Texas. There's a ball. Pachorik with the long throw and stays on the bag and the catch for the 6-3 ground out. So a nice job by the first plate base umpire to say he stayed on in the glove and out. So that's going to bring up Brown. Brown is from Toronto, Ontario, Canada as well. It's a high fly ball headed into left field. That's going to be taken by Nolan the fourth. 3 up, 3 down, no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. We go to the bottom half of the fourth inning, all tied at 4. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure and like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you'll be notified every time we make an upload or go live. Thanks again. All right, to the bottom half of the fourth inning we go. Pachorik is up. Will David back for another inning of work. That's inside. 1-0 the count on Pachorik. He reached on an error in the first, had a soft line drive to the second baseman, Alfonso. There's ball 2, that's outside. Soft line drive. Alfonso still had to go up to get it. There's a strike, catches the outside corner. 2-1 the count. It's a high chopper that's going to be taken by Brown. Brown takes it over to Connor at first base for the 5-3 ground out. So that's going to bring up Dirks. Dirks will step in. 1 out, nobody on. Dirks has 35 RBI on the season. 70 hits, 169 at bats. Ball headed down the bullpen area. On to the count quickly on Dirks. He's had a base hit and a double. There he's hit by a pitch. Nothing more you hate as a pitcher than to go inside and hit a guy with the 0-2 count. But he had a single and a double and an RBI on his double in the second. That's going to bring up Santiago. Santiago will step in. He has 58 RBI on the year. He does have 12 home runs and another hit by pitch. That's going to bring up Nolan the fourth. Nolan the fourth will step in. Runners at first and second with 1 out.
22, Freddie Nolan the fourth.
Nolan the fourth is second in RBI. Santiago's the first with 58. Nolan the fourth has 57 RBI. Nolan the fourth has 9 home runs on the year. That's outside. 1-0 the count. Nolan the fourth was doubled up. Back to the pitcher his first time up and walked in the third. 1-0 the count with 1 out. There's a strike right at the knees, right down the middle. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. The only other one on the scoreboard is an error by the Conquistadors. Blue Devils did score 1 run in the third. There's a strike right at the knees inside half of the plate, so 1-2 the count now. The stretch and the 1-2. It's a ground ball headed up the middle. The shortstop, Andy, calls him out here. Looked like he might get there, but that was the 6-4-3 double play. So Nolan the fourth has hit into 2 double plays. The Blue Devils have 1 left on. No hits, no runs, no errors, 1 left. And we go to the top of the 5th inning. All tied up at 4. We'll be back. the way it goes. All right. Here we go to the top of the 5th inning. Vaughter back for another inning of work. We have that Costner is the person in at this point, but they have him as number 8, and they do not have a 4 on either of the rosters I have. There's a strike called, but nonetheless, this is the center fielder. We believe it to be Corey Costner, and there's strike 2, 1-2 the count. He struck out his first time up. Comes the 1-2. That's up high. 2-2 the count. Top of the 5th inning action. Check swing, ruled a ball. 3-2 the count. Foul ball backing out of play, so we'll do the 3-2 again. Four runs for the Conquistadors was a grand slam by Warrella. Dirks, Woida. There's a base on balls. Dirks, Woida, Barham, and Schmock with the RBIs for the Blue Devils. So back to the top of the order and Josh McClintock.
Here we go. There we go.
And you're out.
See, now Coach, I believe, has now looked. We're going to get an explanation here. So we don't know what the outcome of that discussion was, but Coach did notice that that was number 4 instead of number 8. So we'll have to get a clarification on that. That's way outside. McClintock, he grounded out to Pachorik, gets short in the first, had a base hit into left field in the third. He's up there with a runner on first and nobody out. There's a ball headed for the woods, and that's going to be deep in the woods. That's up high. McClintock has the second most RBI for Dodge City with 52. There's a strike called. Concepcion is the only one with more RBI, and he has 68. McClintock does have 5 home runs, 23 doubles, leads the team in doubles. Just late swinging to stay alive on that breaking ball. 2-2 the count. Dodge City Conquistadors from Dodge City, Kansas. Into town for a best 2 out of 3 series today, tomorrow, and Friday. If needed, we'll do the 2-2 again. The winner of that 2-game series will go to Salina, Kansas for the region tournament. Runner goes, and a strikeout. That ball's going to go into center field. And
Watch this.
we're going to get an out. So after the batter struck out, he is what caused Horn to throw the ball into right field. So we're going to get a strikeout and an interference out.
Who's this one? Yep. Number 1, Jose Alfonso.
So that's going to bring up Alfonso to the plate. He'll be up there with 2 outs now. That's way outside for ball 1. Alfonso grounded out in the first, walked in the third. There's a ball headed into right field. That's going to be taken by the right fielder, Schmock, for the third out of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. Unusual way to only have 3 hitters in the inning, but we go to the bottom of the 5th. We're halfway through this one. Stay with us. Thanks for joining me. All tied up at 4 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Woida will step in. Woida has 43 RBI on the year. That ball's outside. Woida has the 3rd most RBI for the Blue Devils. It's going to be taken by the first baseman, Connor, out in shallow right field.
55, Braden Horn.
That's going to bring up Horn. Horn will step in with with 1 out and nobody on. There's a strike at the belt outside half of the plate. It's going to be a base hit. Horn has 8 home runs on the year, but he's got a single right there.
For 11, Harrison Barham.
That's going to bring up Barham. Barham will step in with a runner at first base and 1 out. That's a little bit low and outside. Barham cleared the back part of the box. There's a ball headed into the left field corner. It's going to be extra bases. Going to see what's going to happen, and Barham's going to go into second base with a stand-up double, and over to third is Horn. That's going to bring up Towns. Towns will step in with 1 out, runners at second, third. See if Towns can get something over to the right side. Had a base hit in the second, a base on balls. We're going to get a visit to the mound. Blue Devils are all tied up with the Conquistadors 4-4. Here in the bottom half of the 5th inning, we're just 1 out, past halfway through this one. We will take a short break. I'll be back. The visit was short. No changes were made. Runners at second and third. Towns at the plate. See if he can get something to the right side to get at least one of these runs in. Has a base hit and a walk so far. Designated hitter today. There's a ball backing out of play. Concepcion, Costner, Oquendo left to right across the outfield. Brown, McClintock, Alfonso, and Connor left to right across the infield. Longoria behind the plate. And the pitch by David. Will David on the mound. 2-1 the count after that pitch outside. Stepping off and faking a little throw over to third.
I don't know. I just heard it for the first time. I think it's disconnected.
Horn at third, Barham at second. There's a ball headed into right field. That'll score at least one and is going to score two of them. So Carter Towns with a couple of hits, and that one gets 2 RBI into right field. Put the Blue Devils up 6-4. So Towns down at first after that hit, and that's going to bring up Spencer Smock. Smock has an RBI base hit and then grounded into a fielder's choice to the shortstop. Runner goes, and the throw down to second, and he is safe. The second baseman, Alfonso, petitioning for him sliding off the bag, but the umpire not buying it. So 1-0 the count. The umpire did 1-0 down there, Mr. Kern.
Counts 1-0.
There's a play down to second, going to be safe. Well, at least you had a 1. 1-0 the count. There's a ball in on the hands of Smock. Smock has 32 RBI on the year. 5 home runs. 4 doubles and 3 triples. 39 hits, including the one in the second. There's a foul ball back to the screen. 1-2 the count. Towns unties the score from 4-4, making it 6-4 after that 2 RBI double. Way outside. Two balls, 2 strikes, and an out. 2 runs in the inning thus far for the Blue Devils. That's down low. So Towns gets the 2 RBI base hit. Then he steals second base. 3-2 the count now on the right fielder, Spencer Smock. That's going to be a wild pitch, and over to third goes Towns.
Shortstop, Tanner Paciorek.
That's going to bring up Paciorek. Paciorek will step in with runners at the corners. I see Pachorik with a bunt right here and getting a bunt hit and an RBI. We're going to get a visit to the mound. Looks like we're going to have a pitching change. Blue Devils, they've taken a 6-4 lead. They've got runners at the corners with one out. Here in the bottom of the fifth, we'll get the changes and we'll be back. All right, the pitching change has been made by the Conquistadors. Marcos Santiago from Bayamon, Puerto Rico, will come into the game. He has a 7.34 ERA. 3-3 is his record. 30.2, 32 and 2/3, I should say, innings pitched. 17 strikeouts to 23 base on balls in those 30.2 innings. So we may want to take a couple pitches here to see how he's going to be around the plate. But the Blue Devils have taken the 6-4 lead on the base hit by Carter Towns. Blue Devils now with runners at the corners. One out. And Pachorik back to the top of the order. Comes the first pitch, squares to bunt, and it's down the right field side and just gonna be foul. I didn't choose very good of a camera right there. Probably should have gone here. So Pachorik just a little bit foul down the first baseline with that one. Excuse me, Dirks. I'll get it right in a minute. Pachorik. Dirks is on deck. 0-1 the count. See if the bunt's still on. Toss over to first. He didn't tip his hat. If he's going to bunt again, did Pachorik on the toss over. 0-1 the count. Does square to bunt. The bunt is down this time. Going to go to first. And Pachorik with the sack bunt gets the Blue Devils another RBI. So 2 outs, and that's going to bring up Dirks. Nothing better to come right back with another bunt right here, pulling down the first baseline. We'll see. Dirks with a lot of bunt hits this year. Wish I had that stat, but I don't see it. There's a strike, catches the inside corner at the knees. Dirks is 2 for 2 with a base hit, a double in the second for an RBI, and was hit by a pitch in the fourth. 0-1 the count. That ball breaks inside. 1-1 the count. Comes the 1-1 pitch from Santiago. Fouls that one away, does Dirks, the center fielder. Smock at second base. He reached on a base on balls. 1-2 the count. There's a ball headed into deep center field. And right there to take care of that is Costner. So the Blue Devils get 3 runs on 3 hits. Have 1 left on. We go to the top of the 6th inning. Blue Devils leading 7-4. I'll be back. All right, Warrillo, Connor, and Concepcion scheduled up for the Conquistadors. There's a line drive. I thought that he was going to have it there, was at second base and just passed Barham into right field. Warrillo had the grand slam in the 3rd for the 4 runs of the Conquistadors. It's going to bring up Connor. Connor flies out to Smock in right field. Not a very good job on the camera there. Sorry about that. 1 out. That's going to bring up Concepcion. He's grounded out to second and short in the 2nd and the 3rd, respectively. 1 out, runner at first, squares to bunt, pulls it back for a ball. Juan Concepcion, the left fielder for Dodge City. Low and inside. Over at first base is Warilla. He had the base hit to lead things off here in the top of the 6th for the Conquistadors. Ball a little bit low. 3-0 the count on Concepcion. There's a strike, catches the inside corner at the knees. Boyd it was in at the grass, 3-1 the count. They've moved him back defensively. There's a fly ball headed into right center, and Smock's going to take care of that. So a base hit and a couple of fly outs to Smock in right field. That's going to bring up Oquendo.
21, Freddie Oquendo.
Freddie Oquendo will step in. He was struck out in the 2nd and was called out on strikes in the 4th. We'll take another one of those. Going to toss it over to first. Nothing going on over there. Back in safely is Calvin Murillo, the designated hitter. Just a little bit outside. 1-0 the count. First game of a 3-game series, best 2 out of 3. The winner goes on to Salina next week to continue in the playoffs. Breaking ball catches the inside corner. 1-1 the count. One ball, one strike, 2 outs. Runner at first base. Little toss over to first. Way to in tight at the grass, but about 10 to 15 feet off the line. There's a strike inside corner at the belt. 1-2 the count. So a base hit by Warrella here in the top of the 6th. Then a couple of flyouts to Spencer Smock in right. 2 outs with a runner at first. 1-2 the count. There's a ball headed up the middle. Pachorik says, I'll just step on the back. 6. Unassisted fielder's choice. So no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Blue Devils leading 7-4. Hey, thanks for joining me. If you've got somebody, if you're watching or listening to the game here at the field, or if you are watching at home and you know somebody here at the field, if they'll go down and see Coach Burleson at the red picnic table, you can pick from some 4T's merchandise down there. I can't see if he's given anything away or not, but you're sure welcome to. Looks like maybe somebody came down and got one of them, so that's awesome. I appreciate you. I'll be back. All right, here we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Blue Devils leading 7-4. Santiago and Nolan the 4th were over there near the on-deck circle getting ready for this half of the inning. Santiago is popped out, grounded out, and been hit by a pitch. Swing and a miss of that first pitch right there. Santiago does lead the Blue Devils with home runs with 12. There's a ball headed into shallow right field. That's going to drop for a base hit. That's going to bring up Nolan the 4th. Nolan the 4th. He has 57 RBI. That's second best on the team. Santiago with the most with 58. Santiago at first. There's a ground ball over toward Coach Goldbeck at third base. Coach Goldbeck with some signals over there. Nobody out, 0-1 the count. Runner at first base. Blue Devils leading 7-4. There's a strike inside corner. 0-2 the count on Freddie Nolan the fourth. 64 hits out of 187 at bats. There is a swing and a miss. That high heater fooled him and couldn't catch up to it for the strikeout.
48, Ian Woida.
It's going to bring up Woida. Woida has his his number worth of hits, 48 out of 140 at bats. Actually, he has 49 hits because he had the RBI double in the third. Want to know the count on Woida? He's at the plate with one out and Santiago over at first. Way outside. Santiago bluffed to run there. 2-0 the count now. Marcos Santiago on in relief of Will David for the Conquistadors of Dodge City. Woida drives one through the hole between third and short. Santiago moves up to second. It's going to bring up Braden Horn.
55, Braden Horn.
Horn will step in. He has 34 RBI on the year. Has one in scoring position here. See if he can get himself another RBI. There's a strike, catches the inside corner at the knees. Horn reached on a base on balls in the second, struck out in the third, had a base hit in the fifth. There's a ball headed right back up the middle. That's going to score Santiago from second base. That's going to make it 8-4 now after that. Base hit by Horn. Woida down to second base. That's going to bring up Harrison Barham. Barham, the second baseman. He's up there with one out and runners at first and second. Outside and in the dirt, blocked nicely by Longoria. Woida at second base. Horn at first. Barham at the plate. There's a ball headed down the right field line. That's going to bounce off the side of the hill and just go into the woods. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 run in. Blue Devils with a couple of ones side by side with 11 hits. In the dirt, another ball blocked nicely by Longoria. Overcast day. Started at 10 instead of 1 due to the rain that is expected in this afternoon. Hope we get this done before we get any sprinkles on my cameras. Here comes the 2-1. Breaking ball hit right back up the middle. And coming for home is Woida. And Harrison Barham has his second RBI to the day. He drove that right back up the middle. He had a sac fly in the second. So he has 2 RBI on the day. That's going to bring up Carter Towns. Towns has a couple of base hits, one of them with 2 RBI in the 5th. He also had a stolen base. So 9-4 the lead now. There's a strike right through there. Towns has the 2 hits. He also has a base on balls, so he's been on base all 3 times. A couple of hits, so 2 for 2 with 2 RBI is Towns. There's a ball right at the second baseman. That's going to be a 4-6-3 double play from Alfonso to McClintock to Connor. But the Blue Devils plate get run on 4 hits. They take a 9-4 lead. I'll be back. All right, to the top of the 7th we go. Longoria, Brown, and presumably Costner up for the Conquistadors. Nolan the 4th, Dirksen, Smock across the outfield. Woida, Pachorik, Barham, and Santiago across the infield with Horn behind the plate and Vaughter back for his 7th inning of work. Breaking ball stays up and out on Longoria. Longoria is popped out to Barham at second and grounded out to Pachorik. His 2 at bats, so for 2. There's a ball on the right-hand side. Schmock says, I'll come in and take care of that. And he does for the first out of the inning. That's going to bring up Brown. Brown will step in. Brown has 41 RBI on the year. That is 3rd most for the Conquistadors. Excuse me, 4th most. He walked in the 3rd and popped out to Nolan the 4th in left center in the 4th. That ball just misses a little bit inside. 2-1 the count. Blue Devils with the 9-4 lead. Top of the 7th inning action. 9-inning scheduled game. First game of the best 2 out of 3 here in KCK the next 2 days. Possibly the next 3 days if we need the 3rd day on Friday. Winner of this best 2 out of 3 will travel to Salina for the Plains District Baseball Tournament. There's a hit by a pitch. That's going to bring up presumably Corey Costner. It's not the number we have, but it is the name we have, so I'm going to go with it. He'll be up there with 1 out and 1 on. Throw over to first base. Nothing going on over there. Costner struck out in the 3rd. Walked in the 5th, but was out on interference by McClintock during the strikeout. There's a strike right through there. 0-1 the count. Top of the 7th inning action. Blue Devils leading 9-4. Foul ball back into the net. Owing to the count. The pitch from Vaughter and hit by a pitch. Another dreaded 0-2 count with a hit by pitch. So back-to-back hit by pitch and back to the top of the order. And McClintock.
Batting number 12, Josh McClintock.
McClintock has 32 stolen bases for the Conquistadors, so he has his share of speed for sure. Runners at first and second. Brown is at second base. Costner is at first. Josh McClintock at the plate. He's 1 for 3, a ground out, a strikeout, and a base hit. Way outside. Nice job by Horn there to keep that ball from going to the screen. 1-0 the count. Breaking ball stays up and out. 2-0 the count. Little work going on down in the bullpen. Get a visit to the mound. Always have something that plays a little havoc with my bullpen being able to stay focused down there. Coach, go back to the mound, see if he's going to make a change. 2-0 the count. 9-4 the lead by the Blue Devils here in the top of the 7th. See if the guys, who's that warming up down there for us?
I think
Gavin Killian warming up for the Blue Devils. Believe he might be warm and ready to go. But for the time being, we're going to stay with Vaughter. The infield, Wojda Pachorik, Barham, and Santiago, and Horn all back to their positions after that little visit with Vaughter. McClintock at the plate. Swing and a miss of that heater. Two and one the count. Comes the 2-1 from Vaughter. Foul ball headed over to the soccer field, right through the backside of the goal over there. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on. Ball's going to be taken smock, and the throw is cut off. That's going to, unfortunate there, the throw coming to first goes off the hand of the runner that was at first, so the run's going to score. That'll make it 9-5.
That's the most unfortunate.
number 1, Jose Alfonso.
So that's going to bring up Alfonso. 2 outs now. Runner at second base. 1-0 the count. Alfonso's been out on a ground out, a fly out, and reached once on a base on balls. 1-0 the count on him. That's going to be a pass ball right there on the catcher. Allow that runner to move up. Comes the 2-0 pitch. Runner at third now. That's up high. Misses outside for ball 4. Runners at first and third now. That's going to bring up Warrillo. Going to get a visit to the mound and a pitching change. 2 outs, runners at the corners, 1 run in. Makes it 9-5 currently. We'll take a break. We'll be back. All right, the pitching change has been made. Gavin Killian, number 14, comes in. He is from Hughesville, Missouri. Killian has a 3.74 ERA, 16 appearances, 55 and a third innings pitched. Strikeout to walk ratio, 44 strikeouts and 10 walks in that 15 and a third innings. He will take over with a runner at first and third and 2 outs.
27, Calvin Warrillo.
That's going to bring up Warrillo. Warrillo has a fly out, a grand slam, and a base hit. His most recent at bat in the 6th. There's a chopper to Pachorik. Pachorik over to Barham. 1 pitch. Killian gets us out of it with the 6-4 fielder's choice. The Conquistadors get 1 run on no hits, and we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Blue Devils leading 9-5. Thanks for being with me. Smock, Pachorik, and Dirks scheduled up. New pitcher is Cameron Stewart. There's a strike, catches the outside corner. Stewart is from Rothsay, New Brunswick, Canada. Righty on the mound for the Conquistadors. Squares to bunt, and that's going to be foul by Smock. Smock has an RBI base hit, a ground out, and a base on balls. Stewart has a 9.60 ERA, 17 appearances, 30 innings, 27 strikeouts, and 16 base on balls in those 30 innings. There's a base hit into right center for Smock, and that's going to be back to the top of the order and Pachorik. So Pachorik will be up there. He's reached on an error. Soft line drive to second base. Grounded out to Brown at third. And had a sac bunt for an RBI. Most recent at bat in the fifth. Here he is in the seventh. 0-1 the count on him. Runner at first. Nobody out. There's a foul ball that's going to get out of play over the dugout. So quickly 0-2 the count. On the shortstop, Tanner Pachorik. Bottom of the seventh inning action, 9-5 lead by the Blue Devils. Cameron Stewart on in relief. Runner goes. That's sure not. That's a swing. But interference, they did not call.
Their coach yelled that.
Gotcha. So it was just a strikeout. So Pachorik strikes out, protecting his runner going to second. I kind of looked down to take care of things and saw the swing and saw him headed, and I had lost track of the count, so the strikeout. Runner at second base, 1-0 the count. Marcus Dirks now at the plate. He is 2 for 3 with a base hit, a double, and an RBI with that double and a hit by a pitch. Fly out to center field, the only time he's been retired today. There's a high chopper to Alfonso. Alfonso over to Connor and moving over to third base is Smock.
First baseman, Frankie Santiago.
So that's going to bring up Santiago. Santiago will be up there. Santiago is 1 for 3 on the day. Had a base hit and was hit by a pitch. Coach Golbeck's calling a little offensive powwow here. So look at the dugout. I was hoping to be able to get that. We'll see what we've got up our sleeve here. So Santiago back to the batter's box. Schmock back to third. Gonna put Santiago on with a base on balls intentional. to get to Nolan the fourth. Nolan the fourth has hit into 2 ground double plays, walked and struck out, and this is where they put Santiago on, and you hope he makes them pay, and we'll see if Nolan the fourth is able to make them pay right here. There's a strike called. Santiago with the bluff of going. We'll see if there's anything on from Coach Golback. 0-1 the count, 2 outs. The runner goes. They're going to throw down, and the ball gets away, and Pachorik is going to score. Smock scores on the throw down to second. So the runner now at second base, and that makes it 10-5. I wondered a little bit about that. With 2 outs and runners at the corners, sometimes KCK will start the runner and get in the rundown to try and steal the run. But instead, Santiago with the stolen base. And the ball gets away into center field, and Smock scores. Ten to 5 the score now. There's a ball to deep center field, headed back deep, and at the track. Costner takes that one in right at the fence. So Nolan hits that ball anywhere other than dead center, and it's out of here, but nonetheless, it's a long, loud out in the inning. So the Blue Devils get 1 run on 1 hit. We go to the top of the 8th inning. Blue Devils leading 10 to 5. I'll be back. All right, the pitching change has been made by the Blue Devils. Number 50, Caden Howell, will come in. He is from Lansing, Kansas. Howell has a 3.27 ERA. His record is 1-2. He has 18 appearances, 22 innings pitched, 24 strikeouts to 21 base on balls in those 22 innings pitched. He will come to the mound here in the top of the 8th. Blue Devils leading 10 to 5. All right, to the top of the 8th we go. Connor, Concepcion, and Oquendo scheduled up for the Conquistadors.
Batting number 44, MD Connor.
Connor is 1 for 3 as a ground out, a base hit, and a fly out to right field. He'll step in to lead things off here in the top of the 8th. That's down low, the first pitch from Caden Howell on in relief of Killian and Vaughter. Guys, did Killian just throw 1 pitch and that was it? Gets an out, and now Howell comes on. That misses a little bit low and inside. So 2-0 the count there. Probably thinking on pitch count and Killian being able to work tomorrow and or Friday if needed. There's a high fly ball into right center. That'll be taken by Dirks for the fly out.
22-1, Concepcion.
That's going to bring up Concepcion. He is 0 for 3, a couple of ground outs and a fly out to Smock in right. He'll step in with 1 out and nobody on. There's a strike outside corner at the knees. That's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. (10-5) lead for the Blue Devils over the Conquistadors of Dodge City. That's a pretty good looking pitch right there, but ruled a ball, 2-1 the count. We get used to that outside strike being called, then when it's not called, it's a little bit of a surprise. 2-1. 3-1 the count, low and inside with that pitch. Strike zone seemed a little snug the start of this inning. There's a hit ball deep to left. And the solo home run by Juan Concepcion, the left fielder. It's going to make it 10-6. That'll bring up Oquendo. Oquendo will step in. He's 0 for 3 on the day, struck out in the second, called out on strikes in the fourth, and an unassisted ground ball to Pachorik at short in the sixth. That ball misses outside, 1-0 the count. In tight at the grass is Wojda at third. There's a ball headed down into the bullpen area.
I think we'll take care of the appointment first and then drive down.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 run in the inning to make it 10-6 for the Conquistadors.
So I can get best of both worlds. That's a fun laser.
That ball is taken care of, run down by Marcus Dirks.
Catcher Ben Longoria.
That's going to bring up Longoria, the catcher. Longoria is 0 for 3 on the day. A pop out, a ground out, and then a fly out to right field. Swing and a miss of that first pitch, 0-1 the count on Longoria. There's a breaking ball, just a little break on that. Called a strike at the belt, so quickly 0-2 the count. Misses a little bit outside, 1-2 the count. Concepcion with the 1-out home run to make it 10-6. There is a ball off the feet of Howell, and he dropped straight back down off of the feet. A little soccer action there. Tosses it over to Santiago for the 1-3 ground out. So the Conquistadors get 1 run on 1 hit, the home run by Concepcion. And that makes it a 10-6 game. We'll be back. All right, to the bottom of the 8th we go. Blue Devils leading 10-6. Woida, Horn, and Barham scheduled up for the Blue Devils. Stewart back to the mound for another inning of work. Concepcion, Costner, Oquendo across the outfield. Brown, McClintock, Alfonso, and Connor across the infield with Longoria behind the plate and Stewart now on the mound. Woida 2 for 3, an RBI double, a single, and a base on balls for him so far in this one. There's a ball headed deep to left. Did he get enough of it? And yes, he does. So Woida answers with a solo home run of his own. That's going to make it 11-6. So that's going to bring up Horn.
55, Braden Horn.
Love it, love it. Keep singing, Jay.
So Horn is 2 for 3. Couple of base hits, one's for an RBI and also a base on balls.
It's gonna go back to back.
There's a foul ball into the glove of the catcher, Longoria. So 0-1. Swing and a miss again, so quickly 0-2 on the catcher, Horn. Check swing, ruled a ball. Pretty good pitch on the inside, but ruled a ball. 1-2 the count. There's a hit by a pitch. That's going to bring up Barham.
Second baseman, Harrison Barham.
Barham is 2 for 3. Has a double, a single for an RBI, and a sac fly. So 2 for 3 on the day with a couple of RBIs. We're going to get a pitching change. We'll get that change and be back. Blue Devils leading 11-6. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Pitching change has been made. Manny Burgesi from Caracas, Venezuela. Holden Finley will pinch run down at first base.
Nobody out.
Outside pitch to Barham, runner at first base. Nobody out, as Brady Kern said up here in the press box. 1-0 the count. Tall right-hander on the mound for Conquistadors.
I'm actually being dead serious. I'll tell you if I did.
2-0 the count.
It's been smelling like this all fucking day.
Quick toss over to first. Nothing going on over there. Back in safely is Finley.
Come on, thank Harry.
Another toss over, still back in safe. Holden Finley is from Topeka, Kansas. That ball just misses. Looked like a pretty good pitch right there. Sorry, I didn't even have it to where you could see it, focusing on Finley over at first. 3-0 the count now. That's outside for ball 4. So a home run and a hit by pitch.
DH Carter Towns.
It's going to bring up Carter Towns. We're going to get another pitching change here. Towns will be up when we get back. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Pitching change has been made. Number 35, Harrison Hankins, comes in. He is from Fort Worth, Texas. Hankins has a 12.91 ERA, has no record of, at this point, he's thrown 15 and a third innings, 10 strikeouts, 5 base on balls. As Hankins comes in relief for the Conquistadors. So Carter Towns back to the plate. 11-6 the score here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
I said in-state.
Comes the first pitch from Hankins, and he squares to bunt, and that's going to be foul. 0-1 the count. Comes the 0-1. The bunt is down. That's going to be a bunt hit by Carter Towns. So the bases are loaded, nobody out. That's going to bring up Spencer Smock. Smock is 2 for 3 on the day, a couple of base hits, 1 RBI. Did have a base on balls. That's in the dirt, nicely blocked by Longoria. Bases full of Blue Devils, 11-6 the score. Fouls that one, a little chopper over toward the dugout. I believe it to be 1-1 the count. There's an infield fly rule. I'll bet you right there. The second baseman, Alfonso, goes out and gets that one. So back to the top of the order, and Pachorik. Pachorik is 0 for 4 on the day. He did have a sac bunt to score a run. So he may be over at this point, but he does have an RBI. That's in the dirt, blocked nicely by Longoria. 1-0 the count. Bottom of the 8th inning action. Bases full of Blue Devils. There's a breaking ball right through there. 1-1 the count. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Comes the 1-1, fouled back into the net. Pachorik at the plate. Fouled that one away. Earns another pitch, 1-2 the count. Comes the 1-2. And called strike 3. Home plate umpire decided on his own on that. Check swing. That's going to bring up Dirks. There's a strike, catches the outside corner. So Finley at third, Barham at second, Towns at first. There's the bunt, that's in the air. You have about as much speed on the base paths as you can have right here, as well as Dirks at the plate. So quickly 0-2 the count on Dirks. That's up high. 1-2 the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bases full of Blue Devils. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That's high and outside. Finley at third. Barham at second. Towns over at first. And that's high and outside. So 3-2 the count. So from 0-2 to 3-2 is Dirks. Dirks 2 for 4 with a base hit, a double with an RBI, and a hit by pitch today. And there's an RBI base on balls right there. That's going to bring up Santiago.
26, Frankie Santiago.
Santiago will step in with the bases loaded. Santiago 1 for 3 on the day. There's a ball headed into right field. That's going to be taken by Oquendo. I believe that's a different right fielder, but nonetheless a fly out to right field.
We're heading to the top of the ninth.
We are going to the top of the ninth. Everybody so present is Brady Kern with knowing what's going on down here. Sometimes I'm just amazed how a center fielder with an injured finger can keep an eye on so many things. So the Blue Devils making some changes. We'll get those changes, but we'll be back. The Conquistadors down to their last 3 outs. I'll be back. All right, to the bottom of the ninth we go. Defensive changes have been made. Brown, Costner, and McClintock scheduled up for the Conquistadors. There's a ground ball, and Santiago takes care of that, steps on the bag for the 3 unassisted. We have Tolk at second base, Finley at third, and Kirkham behind the plate. The changes made after the pinch runners and changes defensively made. 1 out, down to their last 2 outs are the Conquistadors. Costner at the plate. He's 0 for 2, strikeout, a hit by pitch. Reached on a base on balls, but that was erased by batter interference. So 2-0 the count. That's a little bit low. Howell on in relief of Killian, who was on in relief of Vaughter. Killian threw 1 pitch to get an out a couple of innings ago. There's a ball outside. So back to the top of the order, and McClintock.
Number 12, Josh McClintock.
McClintock is 1 for 4 on the day. He had a base hit in the third inning.
Probably won't at this lineup. Yeah, it is. Well, I doubt Ken is listening to this. Well, they normally, like, you get reported, though. Yeah, that makes sense.
There's a ball headed into left field. So McClintock becomes 2 for 5. It's going to bring up Alfonso. Alfonso will step in with 1 out, runners at first and second. Alfonso is 0 for 2 on the day, a ground out, a fly out, and a couple of walks. There's a strike, catches the outside corner, 0-1 the count. Nolan the fourth, Dirks. Smock across the outfield. Finley, Pachorik, Tolkien, Santiago across the infield with Kirkham behind the plate. Nice block there. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Conquistadors down to their last 2 outs in this one. They trail by 6. Top of the 9th inning action. In the dirt. Another nice block by Kirkham.
Oh, hell.
2-1 the count. There's a base hit into left field. Going to hold him at third. Nice call by the coach there to hold him at third. You need a bunch of runs, so you got to have the hits. Why take a chance of getting him thrown out? We're going to get a visit to the mound. Bases are loaded, 1 out. Top of the 9th inning. Blue Devils leading 12-6. We'll be back. All right, 1 out, top of the 9th inning. Warrillo is up. He's 2 for 4 on the day. Had a grand slam in the third, a base hit in the 6th. That's low and outside. 1-0 the count. Comes the 1-0 pitch. There's a base hit into right field. Again, station to station. So Warrillo, instead of trying to go get it all, he just hits it to right field for a base hit.
Batting number 44, MD Connor.
It's going to bring up Connor. Connor is 1 for 4 on the day. He had a base hit in the third. 1 out, 12-7 now the score. Bases still full of Conquistadors. That's a foul over the third base dugout in the Blue Devils. 0-1 the count on MD Connor. Check swing, ruled a ball. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 run in for the last 3 innings so far for the Conquistadors. They still trail by 5. There's a line drive and going to be safe back in. Santiago playing so deep on that line drive. Santiago could not get to the bag for the double off.
22-1 Concepcion.
So that's going to bring up one Concepcion. 2 outs now. Concepcion was 1 for 4 on the day. In the 8th, he had a solo home run. Nicely blocked there by Kirkham to keep everybody at bay. Bases are full of Dodge City Conquistadors. 1-0 the count on Concepcion. It's outside, 2-0 the count. Two balls, no strikes, 2 outs. Bases loaded. There's a high chopper. That's going to be an error on the third baseman, Finley. Had a pretty good hop there to come up. He was going to have to go to second in a hurry. That's going to be an E5. That's going to bring up Oquendo. Oquendo is 0 for 4 on the day. A couple of strikeouts, a ground out, and a fly out. There's a bloop headed into right field. It's going to score 2 runs. That'll make it 12-10.
25 Ben Longoria.
So 2 RBI on the bloop hit. We're going to get a pitching change. We've got 2 outs, couple of runners on. We'll be back. Pitching change has been made by the Blue Devils. Number 16, Carter Beach, comes in. He is from Overland Park, Kansas. Beach will come in relief of Howell. Beach has a 7.83 ERA. No record to date, 0-0 wins and losses. He's thrown 23 innings. In those 23 innings, he has 20 strikeouts and 13 base on balls. So he's called upon to get an out here for the Blue Devils to put this one in the books. Longoria will step in. He's 0 for 4. 2 ground outs and a couple of fly outs. 2 outs, runners at first and second. There's a ball headed into left. That's going to be a base hit and score a run. So that's going to make it 12-11. And the Conquistadors have batted around here in the 9th.
Seth Brown.
That's going to bring up Seth Brown. Brown is 1 for 2 on the day. I take that back, 0 for 1 on the day. He's walked 3 times, struck out once, actually walked twice, hit by a pinch once. 0-1 the count on him. It's going to be a wild pitch, and the runners move to second and third. So 1 ball, 1 strike with Seth Brown, the third baseman, at the plate. Runners at second and third now. 1-1 the count. That's up high. 2-1 the count. Comes the 2-1, and that's down low. Blocked nice by Colton Kirkham, the catcher. He is taken over behind the plate after the pinch runner for Braden Horn. 3-1 the count now. Foul ball back to the screen, so 3-2 the count now. Carter Beach on relief of Hal Killian and Vaughter. Comes the 3-2. Foul ball back and out of play. So Brown earns another pitch with that foul ball over the dressing room of the Blue Devils. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. 5 runs in the inning to make it 12-11. There's a ground ball to Pachorik. Pachorik over to Santiago for the 6-3 ground out. The Blue Devils win this one 12-11. The Conquistadors with a violent effort to come back and win this one, but the Blue Devils hang on. Beach comes in to get that last out. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow currently is listed as a 1 p.m. game. We'll be here to bring that one to you. Once again, thank you much for watching and or listening. I appreciate you all and checking us out here. We'll be back tomorrow for the game tomorrow. So that's the ball game here. The Blue Devils win this one 12-11. We'll be back tomorrow for game 2. 1 o'clock scheduled game tomorrow and Friday if needed. Thanks very much. That's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Be safe.